Recently, I reviewed the Pimax Crystal Light, and at the time I had an NVIDIA 3090 GPU. The 3090, when it launched half a decade ago, was the flagship NVIDIA graphics card of the day and the fastest gaming GPU money could buy. In that review, which I'll drop a link to below, we just about managed. However, I would say we were circling the edge of the demands of this headset with the 3090. There are some useful tools in the Pimax software that helps optimize performance. That's something I also covered in the review, and I made good use of these features. Now fast forward a few weeks and the 3090 has been replaced with a new RTX 5080. So today I'm going to run through a series of racing games. I'll show you my graphic settings, both in-game and the Pimax Play software, along with some commentary describing my experience. Although the Crystal Light headset is able to support a refresh rate of up to 120Hz, I'm aiming for a stable 90 FPS experience, so I have the refresh rate locked at 90Hz. Pushing for 120 FPS wouldn't be impossible, but it's at the expense of lowering other graphic settings, and we want to maintain a balance between performance and visual fidelity. So for the 5080 paired with the Crystal Light, 90Hz I think is the way forward. Each game segment coming up is timestamped, so you can jump around to any particular title or return to later. Something to point out is a recent update to the Pimax software added both NVIDIA image scaling and FSR. Previously, OpenXR upscaling was available in the Pimax software. It still remains there as an option, but I'm using the NVIDIA image scaling, being that we are using a 5080. I did briefly try FSR, but it didn't appear to apply any upscaling to the image. AMS2 is about as optimized as it gets for a VR racing game, and it looks really good even with lower graphics settings. We've hit our goal at 90 FPS and the GPU utilization isn't being pushed to the limit. We've still got some overhead available to increase the graphics settings if we wanted to, but the game already looks so good, I'm just happy how it is right now. Before you mention this in the comments, let me talk about the video RAM usage. We are uncomfortably close to the 16GB capacity, but do be aware I'm recording with OBS on the same PC I'm running this game, so we have that running in the background, recording all this footage at 60 frames per second. OBS is going to be using a chunk of that video RAM too, so this does not reflect regular video RAM usage. The visuals are crisp and everything is smooth without any stutters. I'll call this a win. The game looks amazing and is running great for me. That ends my commentary for this segment. I will let the gameplay footage continue uninterrupted for a minute for you to enjoy a bit longer. You can keep watching or skip ahead using the timestamps. ACC is known to bring graphics cards to their knees in VR, and I spent a good amount of time trying out different configurations in both the Pimax Play software and the game graphic settings. It's quite the balancing act of give and take, and as before, I want to try and maintain that 90 FPS at all times. ACC does support in-game DLSS, so I did use that instead of NIS upscaling. I did fine-tune the image quality settings in the Pimax Play software though. We've managed 90 FPS, so this is a good start. There was a few frame drops just at the beginning of the race at the first corner, but otherwise It remains stable throughout the rest of the race. The small labels on the dashboard are not entirely readable, but you kind of get the gist of them. Sometimes trees can appear to look like overcompressed JPEG images. That's the only way I can describe them. I guess it's a lot of similar looking leaves for DLSS to process. Otherwise, visually, everything else is looking decently sharp and detailed. The car interior, other cars, the track and trackside objects. It's all looking pretty good to me. This is the very first time I've been able to run ACC in VR without having to use settings that make the game appear like a blurry mess to maintain a good frame rate, or having to trade sharper visuals for a stuttering mess of a frame rate. ACC is really fun in VR. I highly recommend it if you can get it to run well and look good. The 5080 along with the Pimax Crystal Light are a winning combination. As before, here's 60 more seconds of this gameplay footage before moving on to the next game.
On the left.
The only thing of note is I'm using a touch of the image scaling in the Pimax software and then some in-game graphic setting tuning, which didn't take too long. There may be some room for further tweaks here to raise the graphic settings, but I found something that works and looks good, and I just locked it in and got on with it. I wasn't able to get the Afterburner overlay to display in LMU, so I changed over to the Steam overlay. The important metrics are still displayed, the FPS and the GPU utilization, both which are looking really healthy here. It's running smooth and the GPU utilization shows us the 5080 still has a little bit left in the tank should it need the extra processing power to handle any spikes. On track, it's a drab overcast day, but from the cockpit view, where I'm sitting, the visuals are crisp and detailed. 23 cars on track here, tightly packed together at times, so lots of activity jostling around for the 5080 to render, and it's managing to maintain the 90 FPS. No problem, this one is a winner. I was really enjoying this race, so I'm going to let it play out for another minute for you. Assetto Corsa EVO, like ACC, supports in-game DLSS, but I discovered using the NIS upscaler in the Pimax software was more VRAM efficient than using DLSS, and the resulting visual clarity was also sharper than using DLSS in this game. It does make me want to revisit ACC and try something similar with the settings. It might clean up the visuals on the trees that I mentioned. Everything in this game is looking really decent, including the trees. There's a tiny amount of shimmer on the wire fences, but everything else is just about fine. Sorry about the strange appearance of this recording. The game renders the view from both eyes on the monitor output, so this is the best I can do here. Draw your attention to the GPU usage. It's all over the place, ranging from 79% up to 97%. We have the frame rate nailed to the board at 90 FPS, occasionally dropping a single frame to 89, but that's neither here nor there. It remains smooth throughout. But the inconsistent GPU utilization does tell me AC EVO isn't very well optimized. I also found the game glitched every so often, where the image through the headset would continuously stutter regardless of the frame rate counter. That looks fine, but the image would not stay stable. Restarting both the game and the Pimax software was needed to fix this. AC EVO is currently in early access, so we do need to accept it is an unfinished title and things may improve. Of course, we do hope they do. You can still have a reasonable time in VR with this game, but I wouldn't recommend you necessarily buy it right now if you only intend to play it in VR. Okay then, one more minute of footage before we move on to the next one. Don't forget, there are timestamps to skip ahead. Dirt Rally 2.0 still remains popular to this day. The Steam player count charts has the daily player numbers double that of EA Sports WRC. Hence I'm going with this older title for the VR test too. And being that Dirt Rally is an old title, the 5080 chews through this game rather nicely with a mix of medium and high settings, along with a dose of anti-aliasing to clean up the edges. Unfortunately, we get a slightly stretched and zoomed in recording viewpoint. It is a shame the scale appears wonky, as this still remains a really good looking game to this day, and through the headset, the wide field of view and good use of in-game colour gives this a really realistic appearance. Yeah, awesome stuff. There's nothing more to add, it runs great and a good one for the Pimax Crystal Light and the 5080.
Two left tightens, don't cut. Into two right, opens of a narrow bridge, 80. Six left long, tightens, deflect of a crest, 150. Five right long, opens of a crest, into six left long of a crest, into six right long, tightens cut to gravel, and six left long, opens of a crest, 30. Five right, into three left of a crest, don't cut. Into five right of a crest, opens long, 30. Five right long, tightens 4.
Played on a regular monitor, RaceRoom doesn't have the most exciting graphics, but it also means it's not an overly demanding title to run either, and that does make it well suited for VR, and we can enjoy some high graphic settings, except for shadow quality that I have set at low. In VR with RaceRoom, it can hit the CPU quite hard, handling more complex shadow calculations, especially since the image is rendered twice for VR. So if the 5080 is waiting on the CPU, that will hit the frame rate. To be fair, lower shadow settings is the same concession required for all of the other games too. There's a train of cars ahead, and along the straights I can easily see the furthest away cars that remain in my line of sight. This is a testament to the high resolution displays of the Crystal Light headset. It really is an awesome VR headset for sim racing. If you haven't watched my review, I'd highly recommend it. There is a link below. The graphics are very crisp here, including the dashboard. I can't fault this, it's running really well and looks very nice in this headset. This one is an easy pass for the 5080. I'm able to lock in high settings for the most part, and you'll see in a moment that OSD monitoring shows the 5080 isn't breaking a sweat on the GPU side. But it is chewing through the video RAM, which is slightly worrying and further compounded while recording with OBS occupying some of that VRAM too. So content creators, beware, the 5080 is certainly capable, but it might be worth waiting for the 5080 Super. That's expected to come with 24GB of VRAM. In future, for my needs as a content creator too, I'll be looking for graphics cards with more than 16GB. As a pure gaming GPU, with the Pimax Crystal Light, I found the 5080 is absolutely capable, and I've had a really good time over the past few days enjoying these different racing games in VR. I've managed to achieve the performance goal I set out, smooth 90 FPS action and good visuals. So if you're seriously considering the Pimax Crystal Light, the RTX 5080 does pair very nicely with it, as far as I can tell you from my experience. The Pimax GPU image scaling feature in the software is also worth mentioning again. It's a killer feature in the Pimax software. It can really help increase the frame rate, and the hit to the visual clarity is surprisingly minimal for the benefit. It could easily justify a standalone video on this alone. Anyhow, I'm about to sign off on this one. Assetto Corsa is looking really good here, and you can watch it for another minute until the end of the video if you wish to. I hope you found this one useful, and thanks for watching. Until next time, happy simming, and bye bye for now.